Yeah, hello everyone. Good evening. I think I'm audible to all of you. Let me know in the chat. I'm audible, guys, to all of you. Hello everyone. Yeah, I think you can hear me, you can see me. All good. So let's wait 1 minute so that everyone can join and we can start the session. All right, so let's start the session, guys. Welcome. So I think this is our first session on this YouTube channel. And no need to worry, actually we'll be learning so many new concepts. Yeah, hi DPS AI. I don't know your name, but thanks for your appreciation. Yes, thank you. So guys, only what you need to do, you just need to support the channel. If you haven't subscribed, just try to subscribe and try to share it with your friends and family so that they can also get to know these kinds of content is going on. And you can see I already created one playlist. If you go to my channel, Code Commander, if you just go to the playlist section, so here I already created one playlist called live series of latest LangChain and LLMOps. Now, if you open this playlist now, so here I'll be updating all of my session. That means if you have missed out, let's say you are not able to join, let's say tomorrow's session. So what you can do, again, you can come here and you can watch the recording. Okay, because recording would be available in the playlist only. Got it? And whatever update, let's say tomorrow I'm going to schedule the session or not, or let's after tomorrow the session would be scheduled on. So these kinds of information, if you want to get, you can check the live session. Okay, live section. So in the live section, you will see that I will most of the time I will schedule the live. Okay, yes, because it's not possible for me to take the session every day because I also have some other work. So I'll try to conduct frequently, but someday actually I'll try to engage with the other work as well. So needs one favor rather than starting 8. Can we start by 8:30? Yeah, we can also start. We'll be doing okay in the next session. We can also start 8:30 onward. Yeah, no need to worry. Okay, so guys, if you are ready, so please give me a like in the chat, and please like the video, and you can also send me some emoji like if you're ready, guys. Let me know. Are you excited? So can I start, guys? All of you. So don't watch the video only, just try to also interact with me, because why I'm conducting the live session, just to interact with you, yes or no. I could have also recorded this video and I can publish here. Okay, but why I'm conducting the live session? So that you can also interact with me. So your learning experience would be better, right? So don't just watch the video, also try to interact and try to join with your system. So if you're joining with your systems, what will happen? Whatever, let's say, practical I will show you, so you can also practice along with me. Okay, great. All right, so let me start with the topic, guys. I think you already saw what is the topic name. So today actually we'll be discussing about this LangChain. That means we'll be understanding the conceptual introduction, evaluation, and learning roadmap. So today I'm not going to show you any kinds of practical. It would be completely, let's say, a general discussion about the LangChain, like why we have to learn the LangChain and what are the update comes in the LangChain. Okay, then without LangChain, actually, why we can't build generative AI applications. These are the conversation we'll be doing. Okay, because I know that some of the people would be there. They're very advanced in the generative AI. So I will also suggest you try to stay here, because I think you will also get like new information from the session. And see, I'm focusing on like for everyone, right? So let's say you are starting very new with this field, so that you can also learn that, right? So that's why I'll be starting from basic itself, then I will go to the advanced part. So everyone can join and you can watch. And if you find any relevant, okay, so definitely it will help you a lot. Okay, so let me open up my Blackboard and let me write down the agenda. Just a minute, guys. Okay. So our discussion about LangChain. Okay, LangChain. Okay. So see, first of all, let's try to understand what is LangChain and why it is required. Okay, so without LangChain, I mean, what will happen? So if I'm using any large language model, so what will happen? So can we build any application without LangChain, these kinds of framework? Is it possible to build the application? So let me just a minute. Yeah. So first of all, let me, I mean, discuss the like drawbacks if I'm not having the LangChain. So what would be the issue there? Okay. So see, inside generative AI, I think you already know. If I write here, inside generative AI, okay. So what we use, guys, usually, I think you know, we use different tools and technology, right? We use LangChain, we use vector database, then we use large language model, we also use llama index, then we also use, let's say, different kinds of web application framework, right? So these are the tools and technology we usually use if I want to implement any kinds of GenAI based product, yes or no, right? Now whenever I'm talking about large language model, okay, whenever I'm talking about large language model, LLM, okay, LLM. So LLM is also having some limited power, okay. So why I'm talking about limited power, I'll just try to clarify. First of all, let's try to understand how many LLM we are having. Okay, so we are having many APIs, yes or no? Nowadays we are having many LLM APIs. I'm not talking about, let's say, the, I mean, raw model. I'm talking about the API as of now. Just try to consider API part. So let's say we are having something called OpenAI. Okay, OpenAI API we are having. So OpenAI provides different kinds of large language model. Okay, all the GPT series actually will get here. Then we're also having something called Llama. Okay, Llama is also having their API nowadays. Okay, Llama 2 is there, Llama 3 is there, even Llama 3.1, I think they have also published. Okay, so these are the different model actually they are having. Then apart from that, we're also having something called Mistral. Okay, Mistral. Then I can write, let's say, so on. Okay, so on. That means so many models API we are already having. Okay, so these are what? These are nothing but our large language model, LLM. Okay, these are nothing but our large language model. Okay, now what is the problem? What is the problem? Let's try to understand the problem part. Now if you see, this LLM is having limited, so here I can write, let's say, limited context, okay, context window. Yes or no? If you see any kinds of large language model, if you go to their documentation, you will see that it is having one limited context window. What is context window? That means the input limit. So like how many tokens you can pass as an input to that large language model. So this is called actually limited context window. Okay, now there is another problem. You'll see outdated knowledge. So outdated knowledge base. Now whenever I'm talking about outdated knowledge base, so can anybody tell me what is outdated knowledge means here? Any idea? Outdated knowledge base. Let's say if I'm talking about ChatGPT, so can you tell me, till which year actually ChatGPT actually got trained? That means on top of the entire data. Any idea, guys? So if I'm talking about ChatGPT, I think mostly October. Okay, October 2023. 2023 actually they have taken the data over the internet and they train this particular ChatGPT model. That means this is the outdated knowledge base. Let's say if you ask anything, which is relevant to today's actually, let's say, information, let's say current information, right? So latest information, so it won't be able to give you the answer. But nowadays, if you see, ChatGPT has been updated a lot. If you also ask something in the real time, let's say I want some latest news, it will also give you the answer. But how they're giving the answer? They're using something called agents. Okay, they're real time fetching the information. I'll be also discussing the agents. What is agents exactly? With the help of agents, we can connect different kinds of APIs. Okay, so no need to worry. As of now, just try to think about whenever I'm talking about large language model, only large language model, I'm not talking about the ChatGPT. ChatGPT is an application, right? And it is using large language model. And what are the large language model it is using? GPT series large language model it is using. Okay, so now whenever I'm talking about large language model, definitely it is having outdated knowledge base, because till 2023 October they have taken the data and they train this particular model. Now if you ask anything which is let's say after October, or let's say after 2023, definitely it won't be able to give you the answer. Okay, so that's why we call it as a outdated knowledge base. I hope it is clear. Okay, now the next problem you'll see, data privacy. Okay, data privacy. So you can't actually trust any kinds of large language model, because what happens actually, if you, let's say, give your private data, so there is a possibility your data may get leaked actually. So again, it's a data privacy actually problem you will be getting most of the time. Then if I'm talking about the cost, okay, the next one is the cost. Definitely cost is there. So if you are not sure about the, let's say, input token size, if you're not let's say worried about the output token limit, okay, from your large language model, so definitely your cost will increase there. So you also need to take care about the cost whenever you are using any kinds of large language model. And when I'm talking about large language model, we also need a good configuration machine to execute that if you are using any raw large language model, okay, not any API. So API we can directly access with the help of API request, but whenever I'm talking about raw model, that means you are downloading the model and you are executing in your machine. So definitely you should have good machine. Okay, and if you also fine tune, if you also, let's say, train these kinds of model, it will include lots of cost. Okay, at that end of the day. Then the next problem you will see, no connection. Just let me write, no connection with third party. Okay, third party tools. So we see these kinds of large language model doesn't have any connection with third-party tools. So third-party tools means if I'm talking about any different website, let's say different website, or let's say different any kinds of data sources, it doesn't have any kinds of connection. Okay, now the last one you can write so on again. Okay, that means so many problem you can consider whenever I'm talking about large language model. That means it is having some limited power. Okay, if you see, it is completely having some limited power. Now see, with this limited power, definitely we can't create any kinds of generative AI based application, because whenever I'm talking about generative AI application, so let me just write out. So whenever I'm talking about Gen AI application, Gen AI application, okay, apps. So definitely you need lots of functionality. That means, let me just write down some of them. So let's say you need some data functionality, let's say data in. That means you can input any kinds of data. Let's say you can input TXT data, you can input PDF data, okay, you can input, let's say, CSV data, you can also input, let's say, SQL data, okay, you can also input something called XLS data, you can also input HTML data, you can also input PNG data, and so on. Okay, so these kinds of functionality definitely your application should have. That means I can pass any kinds of data. It doesn't matter what kinds of format I'm using. It doesn't matter. I can pass any kinds of data. Yes or no, right? So if I'm talking about only large language model, you will see that large language model actually can't take these kinds of data directly. So for this, definitely we have to use some of the external tool. Yes or no? Okay, so that's what I'm just talking about. If I want to build any large language model, if I want to build any, let's say, generative AI based application, so I need these are the actually functionality in that application. Okay, so these are the tools and technology I definitely need. Then whenever I'm talking about, let's say, some of the, let's say, actions, okay, actions of your application. So it can perform, let's say, RAG, it can perform, let's say, agents, okay, it can also give the APIs, it can also format your data, it can manipulate something, okay, then it can, let's say, transform something, it can store something, it will have some memory, okay, so that it can remember your conversation, okay, then it can also connect with third party tools, got it, and so on, okay. I think you are getting, guys, what I'm trying to say. Then it will also have something called data out. That means it will also give you some kinds of output. I can call it as data out. Okay. And data out wise, what it can do, guys, it can return anything. Okay. Any kinds of, let's say, output it can give. So here I can write anything, whether it's a image, whether it's a, let's say, text, whether it's a video, anything it can actually return as an output. Got it? So that's how actually we build any kinds of Gen AI based application. Okay. Gen AI based application. Got it? But if I'm only using, let's say, LLM, large language model, and see, large language model, it's not like that actually. It will come as an individual model. Okay, so it will be published by some of the organizations, some of the company. So let's say I'm talking about OpenAI. Okay, so let's say I'm talking about OpenAI here. So OpenAI is a company, OpenAI is an organization. So if you see, OpenAI is also having their own platform. Yes or no? I think you saw. If I search for OpenAI, okay, openai.com. So this is the OpenAI platform. I think you already aware about this particular platform, guys, how to use the OpenAI platform. So OpenAI also give you one Python package. I think you remember, guys, Python package OpenAI also give you. So with the help of that Python package, what you can do, at least you can interact with the model. So it won't be having all kinds of functionality, like to build your generative AI based application, but most of the functionality it will also provide you. Okay. Now let's say you have learned this OpenAI framework. It's fine. Let's say you have learned this framework. It's completely fine. Now there is another requirement. You have to use Llama model. Okay. Then what you have to do, you can't use OpenAI framework in the Llama model. Okay. You can't ever use that OpenAI framework in the Llama model to load the Llama model. For this, what you have to do, you have to again learn the Llama framework. So Llama is also having their own framework, okay, from the Meta site. So you also need to learn that particular framework. Okay. Now let's say again you have learned the Llama framework. It's completely fine. Now there is another requirement. You have to use Mistral model. Again, you can't use OpenAI and Llama framework to load the Mistral model. Then what you again need to do? Again, need to learn the Mistral framework. Okay. That means if I'm talking about different kinds of large language model, so you also need to actually learn different kinds of framework. And again, it's not actually efficient way, because as a developer, how many framework you will be learning, and it's not possible to remember all the framework. So it would be very difficult for us. So can I use only one kinds of, let's say, framework, one kinds of library, and with help of one kinds of library, I can, let's say, load all kinds of model. I can perform all the operation, whatever operation I've written here. Is it possible? Yes, it is possible. So that is why actually your LangChain comes into picture. Okay, LangChain comes into picture. So LangChain, what they did actually, they created one. But I can say they created one common framework actually. So this particular framework can, let's say, use all kinds of large language model. Not only large language model, all kinds of generative AI service. They can use this particular LangChain framework. That means this is a universal framework. Okay, that means it can support everything. Now you can ask me why we have to choose LangChain. There is another framework in the market called Llama Index. I think you know. Okay, Llama Index. Okay, Llama Index is the alternative of LangChain. So both are good framework. I'm not telling Llama Index is bad, LangChain is good. It's not like that. Both is having actually their different kinds of ability. Okay, I'll be also discussing more about Llama Index later on. As of now, our main intention is to focus on the LangChain, because here, if you see the series actually I'm taking, it is related to the LangChain. Okay, now let's try to understand why LangChain we have to choose. Just try to remove it. So here, let me write why we choose LangChain. Okay, why we choose LangChain. Okay, so what is LangChain? First of all, I already told you LangChain is a orchestration framework. Okay, orchestration framework. Okay, that means it's a complete generative AI framework. So all kinds of orchestration you can perform with the help of LangChain. And inside LangChain, you will see there are different update came nowadays. Okay, so many things they have integrated. Let's say they have integrated LLMOps. Okay, LLMOps technology. That means you will see they are also having ecosystem like LangSmith. Okay, LangSmith very popular nowadays. Then LangSharp. Okay, very popular nowadays. Then we're also having something called LangGraph. So with the help of LangGraph, what we can perform? So this is for actually monitoring. This is for actually deployment. Okay, deployment. And this is for actually agents. agents or multi-agents. Okay, multi-agents. So these are nothing but our LLMOps tool, LLMOps tool and technology. LLMOps tools and technology. Okay, now if you see, these are the actually ecosystem. So it is built on top of LangChain exactly. If you see all the, let's say, framework, that's all the LLMOps tool, it is built on top of the LangChain. That means they're using LangChain language only. Okay, they're using LangChain language only to implement these kinds of framework. Now, whenever you are working in the generative AI market, let's say there is a requirement, you have to implement one generative AI application, and there you have to implement one agents. Okay, that means it will have the multi-agents ability. So definitely, you know that if I want to create the multi-agents, okay, multi-agents in my let's say application, what I have to use? I have to use something called LangGraph. Okay, I have to use something called LangGraph. Now LangGraph you can't use with the help of Llama Index. Okay, Llama Index actually doesn't support this LangGraph. That means you can't use it. Then what you have to do? You have to use something called LangChain. So definitely you have to learn the LangChain at the end of the day. Yes. Now let's say you want to create a POC deployment. You want to create an API of your application, and you want to use LangServe for this. Then what you have to do, guys? Again, you have to learn the LangChain because LangChain supports this particular LangServe, right? Then let's say you want to monitor your application. Okay. That time, let's see if you want to use LangSmith. So what you have to use? You have to use the LangChain again. That means if you see here, wherever you go, okay, wherever you go in today's market, at the end of the day, you have to use LangChain only because LangChain is having all kinds of ability. Okay, all kinds of ability it is having. Okay, there are some alternative as well. Okay, you will also see in the market there are some alternative as well. Let's say LangGraph alternative, you can use something called this one. The alternative of LangGraph, you can use something called Crew AI. Okay, Crew AI. So let me write it. Crew AI. So Crew AI is a framework with the help of you can also create agents and multi-agents. Okay, but again, I'm talking about the complete LangChain ecosystem. Let's say if I'm having something in the LangChain, so definitely you won't be using any third-party, let's say, tools and technology. Okay, because if you're familiar with LangChain, so most of the, let's say, ecosystem you can automatically work with because the language is same at the end of the day. But if you ask me which one is the better, okay, see, understanding wise, I will suggest you can learn the Crew AI because Crew AI, you will see the syntax wise, functionality wise, it is like very easy to understand. Let's say with compared to your LangGraph. So I will show you some of the example in future maybe. So there you can see with the help of both framework, we'll be creating the agents. But there we will automatically try to understand. Okay, so what is the difference between Crew AI and LangGraph? See, Crew AI at the end, they're also using LangChain. Okay, LangChain in the backend. Okay, LangChain in the backend. And they implemented one high level framework, okay, for the agents and multi-agents. I think you know about, let's say, this one, TensorFlow, guys. All of you, I think you know about TensorFlow, yes or no? Tell me. Do you know, guys, about TensorFlow? So, I mean, what was the TensorFlow? The previous TensorFlow, I think TensorFlow was separated library, yes or no? TensorFlow was a separate library. Then in the market, actually, Keras came. Now tell me, which one is the easy to understand, TensorFlow language or Keras language? TensorFlow API or Keras API, guys? Let me know. If you have already worked with, deep learning, I think you can answer this one. Which one is easy to understand? The TensorFlow, let's say, syntax or Keras syntax? Please reply me in the chat. Keras, right? Yeah, DP Sharma is telling Keras. Definitely Keras is easy to understand. But if you see the Keras implementation, internally they're using TensorFlow API only. That means TensorFlow language they're using, and they have created one high level wrapper on top of it. Yes, you are correct. They have created one wrapper. Okay, wrapper. This is called actually Keras. Then what TensorFlow thought, because Keras got more popularity in the market because of that easy to use, because all the developers started using the Keras. At that time, TensorFlow thought actually, can we collaborate with the Keras so that we can bring the Keras in our, let's say, library? That means we can import like that from TensorFlow, import Keras. But previously we used to import Keras like that, import Keras directly, right? So that's why they collaborated, and they actually, they took this particular, let's say, Keras framework in the TensorFlow API. Okay, so the similar wise, so Crew AI is also a library, different library, but at the end of the day, internally they're using LangChain API only. Okay, LangChain language only, but they created one high level wrapper on top of it. Okay, so that whenever you are getting any kinds of agents and multi agents, you can create in a good way. So you don't need to write too much of code. You don't need to do so many configuration. So they have already created some pre-built functionality. With the help of that, you can directly use them, right? But see, whenever I'm talking about Crew AI, so here you don't have like lots of customization option. That means as a developer, you won't be able to customize your, let's say, agents, because it's a high level wrapper. At the end, it will give you some functionality, but let's say you need a customization. You have to customize everything. That time what you can do, you can use LangGraph, because LangGraph will provide this kinds of customization ability. Okay, I think we're getting my point. So if I'm talking about Windows and Linux, so which is having more customization, guys? Tell me. Definitely inside Linux, because Linux is kinds of open source, and it has actually given me everything, okay, so that I can customize everything here. But whenever I'm talking about Windows, so we are having some certain, let's say, a modification we can perform. Okay, if I'm talking about Windows, Mac OS, so there are some certain operation we can perform, okay, customization we can perform. But if I'm talking about Linux, everything you can customize. You can even write your own code there. Okay, let's say you don't need this kernel. You can also write your own kernel and you can use it in the Linux operating system. Okay, so now I think this part is clear, guys. Okay, what is this Crew AI and LangGraph? Okay, yeah. I think everything is clear. So now I think you got some understanding why we have to choose the LangChain, because nowadays whatever, let's say, evaluation you can see in the field of generative AI. Okay, so all the, let's say, technology is coming in the LangChain. Okay, very frequently, because they are bringing like so many, let's say, tools and technology for you, so that you can use them to create your generative powered application. Okay, now I think it is clear. That's why we have to choose the LangChain, because it is having all kinds of ability. Now if I'm talking about LangChain evaluation, okay, LangChain also evolved, I think you know, as per your large language model evaluation. So LangChain also evolved. So let's me just discuss about LangChain. Okay, LangChain evaluation. Okay, LangChain evaluation. So see, previously, I think those who have used LangChain, I think you know, LangChain only used to use something called I think LLM model. I think inside LLM model, we are having two kinds of model. I think you know, one is completion model. Okay, completion model. And this like chat model. Do you know, guys, completion model and chat model? The difference between completion model and chat model. That means if you see from LLM model, that means generation model, completion model. Okay, LLM model. They also integrated chat model ability in their framework. Okay, then the second evaluation you can see from legacy. Okay, from legacy LangChain to LCEL, that means LangChain expression language. Okay, then they also evolved from LC, okay, LangChain to LangChain ecosystem. They also created ecosystem. Okay, ecosystem means they have created different ecosystem, like I already told you na. So you can see they created LangSmith, LangServe, LangGraph. Okay, so these are the ecosystem. Okay, they created. Then one very interesting thing, even I usually explore a lot, from terrible documentation to, here I will just write ... Okay, why ... Now you can tell me, guys, if you're using LangChain documentation, maybe you will be able to answer me. Okay, so previously if you see the LangChain documentation, it was terrible, right? It was very nasty and terrible. Even it was out of brain for me also. When I started learning LangChain, I was to refer the documentation. It was very hard to understand. Okay, now if you see in today's LangChain also, if you see that documentation, I can't say it's they created like easy documentation, but again it's hard to understand most of the syntax, because you will see that and they will be writing too much code. Okay, too much code, and if you go to the documentation, definitely will get confused. Okay, like what is happening here? So again, I can say it's not a exact actually easy documentation they have created. That's why I've given dot dot dot. That means still it is terrible for the, I mean, developer. Yes or no, guys? Maybe if you have experienced this documentation, let's say, I mean, in your development, anyone went through the documentation, LangChain documentation, let me know. If you see the like Llama Index documentation, it is easy to understand compared to if I'm talking about this LangChain. Yes, DP Sharma, you are right. Still not up to the mark, very poor. Yes, so that's why I personally, I don't prefer the documentation the way actually they have written the documentation. But compared to actually LangChain, Llama Index documentation is a little bit good. Okay, what I feel like. Okay. Yes. Now, yeah. So these are the actually evolution actually they did in the field of generative AI. That means first of all, we had actually completion model only inside large language model. Then we switched to the chat model. Okay, so let me show you some of the example of completion model and chat model. So for this, what I can do, maybe I can open the playground, OpenAI playground. See, this is the OpenAI playground. So here, just a minute. Yeah. So if you see, this is the I mean, playground of the OpenAI. Now below you can see this is the completion. Okay, completion actually playground. So here they're using something called completion model. And what is completion model? You can see these are the completion model. So GPT 3.5 Turbo Instruct, GPT 3.5 Turbo Instruct 0914, then Babbage 001 and Divinci 002. Sorry, Babbage 002 and Divinci 002. Okay, so these are the actually completion model. And now what is completion model? See, completion model, here you can't pass any kinds of system prompt. That means you only need to give the user input. Okay, user input. That means you can perform the conversation. Okay, here you can perform the conversation. So here you can, let's say, generate something. Let's say here I can write a poem. Okay, poem for me. Okay, so if I see send the prompt here. Okay, so it is telling, yeah, so not so now it is generating the poem for me. And you'll see that it's a generation model. So here you can't perform any kinds of, let's say, I mean, conversation. Okay, conversation actually it's not possible. It's a complete actually generation model you are using. I mean, completion model you are using. Okay, now if I switch to the chat model, see, nowadays all the model, this is a chat model, chat completion model, whatever model you can see nowadays. Let's say new model, GPT-4o. See, here is the list of the model. 4B Turbo, 4, 3.5 Turbo. Okay, so these are actually chat completion model. Now, if I'm talking about Llama, if I'm talking about Mistral, Falcon, whatever model you can see, so all kinds of model are chat completion models nowadays. That means you can also perform the conversation. And this model can take two kinds of input. One is the system instruction. Okay, system instruction. So here you can specify what kinds of, let's say, task you want to perform with the help of your model. So here I can give any kinds of, let's say, system prompt. Let's say you are an expert. Okay, expert to write poem. Okay, poem. Okay, so you can give any kinds of system prompt here. So let's say I've given this one. Now you can give the user input. So I can write I am very happy today. Please tell me a poem. Okay, poem. Now see, if I give it to the model, see, you will get actually a very good response. And you see the response actually you are getting the level with assistant. And whatever input you have given, you are a user. That means you are doing the conversation. Okay, conversation here. And this is called actually chat completion model. Okay, chat completion model. Now let's say you didn't like this particular poem. Now what you can do? I need some, let's say, excitement in this. Now see, here I haven't specified. Okay, I haven't specified this poem I'm talking about. Okay, I just written I need something excitement in this. Okay, and it will automatically understand I'm talking about this particular poem. The point actually it has given me. So this is called actually conversation. The way we do the conversation with the human, right? Let's say between two person, between three person. The same thing actually they have mimic inside the large language model. That means you can perform the conversation with that. Okay, and you can specify any kinds of system instruction here. Okay, so this is called actually chat completion model. Okay, now I think it is clear what is chat completion model, what is completion model only. Okay, now see, previously whatever large language model we used to use, this was actually completion model, and LangChain only was support LangChain only actually created the functionality related to the LLM model, that means the completion model. But nowadays if you see, they also created the functionality related to the chat model. That means it can also load all kinds of chat model. Okay, all kinds of large language model, not only completion model, it can also load any kinds of chat model. Okay, then from legacy to LCEL, that means if you see the previous syntax of the LangChain, it was different. Whenever we used to create the chains, we used to use some of the function from the LangChain, but nowadays they created something called LangChain expression language. Okay, that means instead of using the function, what we can do, we can create a pipe. Okay, I think you can see nowadays people are using pipe. Okay, so people are using pipe. So with the pipe actually we can create the chains. So we don't need to use any kinds of, let's say function for any kinds of chains. Okay, I'll also tell you whenever we'll be doing the practical, that time I'll tell you what is the difference between the legacy LangChain and what is the difference between the this one LangChain expression language. Okay, everything I'll try to clarify. Then they created the ecosystem. That means they brought actually different kinds of ecosystem like LangServe, LangSmith. Then they also brought something called I think LangServe. Okay, so these are the ecosystem, and from terrible documentation to, I think I can say again, it's a terrible documentation only for a developer like us. Yes or no, guys? Okay, so this is the complete evolution of the LangChain. All right. Now see, one thing you just need to remember. So it is very important, guys. Even I always say this to my student. See, this generative AI space is the fastest evolving space in software industry. Okay, software industry. Okay, so no matter how hard I work, the content will never be 100% okay up to date. Okay, it's not possible. How much hard I work, the content won't be never 100% up to date, because it's like very fastest evolving space in the software. Okay, but here note, okay, note it, but here, but you will be ready. Okay, you will be ready for anything. Let's say if I'm teaching you something, definitely you will be ready for anything. Okay, and I always tell here, I do not give you fish. Okay, here I will teach you. I teach you how to fish. Always try to remember this line, guys, because let me show you one example. Let's say if I go to the LangChain let's say package. So if I just search LangChain PyPy, let's open this LangChain PyPy. Now if you go to the release history, now see the release date actually. Okay, just see the release history. So what is the last update, guys, of the LangChain? It's October 9. Okay, October 9. And tell me, when was the October 9? I think it was yesterday only. Okay, yesterday they updated the version of the LangChain. Now you'll see that the previous update, it was October 4, September 26, September 14, September 12, September 6, September 4. Okay, you will see that very frequent update. Now tell me, if I'm teaching you something, okay, if I'm teaching you something, and let's say after 1 month, definitely there would be so many updates in the LangChain. Yes or no? there would be so many update in the LangChain in the generative AI. Now tell me, is it possible for me to again, create the course? Tell me. I mean, what do you feel like? Should we do it, or tell me what do you feel like? No, right? But if you see the actually, concept wise, they're using the same concept, but they're changing some of the syntax. That's it. Okay. Previously, whatever legacy LangChain we used to use, it's completely fine. All kinds of functionality we can use today, but some of the syntax has been changed. Okay. Some syntax has been changed. That means previously we used to use function. Okay. Function to create a change. But nowadays what we do? We create a pipe. We use pipe symbol, okay, to create that particular change right now. And this is called actually LCEL. That means LangChain Expression Language. Okay. Small modification they are doing, but they're releasing so many version, and people are getting confused. Sir, you created this course, you are using older version of the LangChain, so it's not fair. But you just need to try to understand, okay, why we are creating with the older version of the LangChain. Because if you see older version of the LangChain, you will see there some of the version is stable version. That means they have created this version in such a way all kinds of functionalities are available. Okay, because developer are using, it's not possible for the developer to change their version different version always. But let's say you have created one software. Let's say you created this ChatGPT. Let's say today you have created, after 1 month again another version of the LangChain will come. So will you again change that code in your code base? Tell me. Again you will change the code in your code base? No, right? So what we'll do, whenever you are creating any kinds of software, first of all you will try to select one specific, let's say stable version. Okay, stable version of the framework, and with the help of that you will be developing the entire, let's say, software. Yes or no? Okay, so that's why whenever I'm teaching you something, I'll be using one specific, let's say, framework. Yeah, a specific framework. I'll be using some specific version. Okay, because it's not possible. Let's say when I created the content, that time, let's say I was using this version, but after creating the content, when I started teaching, so they have released so many versions. Again, it's not possible for me to again update my content, right? Yes or no? But if you see, they're not doing, so many major changes here. Small changes they are doing. Sometimes they're bringing some new, let's say, syntax. Sometimes they're bringing some new functionality. That's it. Apart from that, you will see they're using the same legacy LangChain only. Only some of the syntax has been changed. I will do the practical also. That time you will also get it. Okay. Some of the functionality they have changed, but apart from that, whatever legacy LangChain you used to use, the same functionality will remain here also. Got it? Okay, that's why I always tell this line. Okay, so here, how hard I work, okay, in the field of generative AI, but the content will not be ever 100% up to date because of that. Okay, and here I will teach you how to fish, exactly how to learn. Okay, how to learn. Let's say if anything is updating by the framework. Okay, if anything is updating by the framework, or let's say if any new changes is coming, so as a learner, as a developer, definitely you will have the ability to understand, okay, what is coming in that. Okay, so don't always try to rely on your mentor. If you're relying on your mentor, so you ever, it won't be possible for you to be a good developer at the end of the day. You can trust me, guys. Okay, so always you have to learn, okay, learn the concept, like how this concept is being utilized here. Apart from that, if anything is coming in the market, if any new update is coming, you have to explore that. So always you have to do explore, guys. 3 things you have to do: export, okay, export, research, and practice. So these 3 things if you have, definitely you will be a good developer. You can solve any kinds of problem statement, trust me, guys. Got it? So that's why here I do not give you the fish. Here I'll teach you how to fish. That is my main objective. So tell me, guys, so far everything is clear? Whatever things I just told you, let me know. How is the session? Are you excited for this series, guys? Let me know. Guys, are you sleeping? Okay, great. Yeah, so that's why see, whenever we're learning the latest LangChain, it's not like that everything has been changed in that let's say framework. Some of the, let's say, functionality they have changed, some of the, let's say, new syntax they have introduced, but here we'll use the legacy. Okay, still we'll be using the legacy, still we'll be using the legacy LangChain, because still it is using LangChain team is also telling you have to use legacy let's say LangChain still if you want to create any kinds of GenAI application, because we are not able to actually, let's say, change all the framework. That means all the syntax, it is not possible to change. Some of the functionality we brought, but still you have to work with the legacy LangChain. Okay, so whenever I'm talking about, let's say, memory, okay, memory nowadays, okay, memory nowadays, let's say when you want to add any memory to the application, you will see that people are still using legacy LangChain actually syntax. That means they're using some function, okay, some function, let's say buffer memory function, they're using some, let's say, window buffer memory function, still they're using that one, because in the second generation LangChain, these kinds of memory they haven't introduced. Okay, they haven't introduced this kinds of memory kinds of functionality. I think recently they published one I think version, I think they're telling like we integrated actually permanent memory, okay, with this framework. But again, you'll see that they're using the same kinds of things only, okay, at the end. All right. Yeah. Now let me discuss about the learning path. Learning path. Like how we'll be learning this LangChain. Yeah. So first of all, here I already given you the introduction and the overview why LangChain is required and why we'll be using LangChain. Okay. So then next session we'll be discussing about how to talk with LLM with the help of LangChain. That means we'll be using different kinds of large language model. We'll be using OpenAI large language model. Okay, we'll be also using open source large language model. Okay, so all the things we'll be exploring one by one. Okay, then we'll be discussing about how to work with the data, how to work with data. Let's say if you're having any custom data, custom documents, then how you can load these other documents, how we can connect your large language model. That means we'll be discussing about basics of RAG. Okay, basic RAG we'll be discussing here. Okay, then fourth we'll be discussing about something called chains. Okay, chains is the main thing inside LangChain, because at the end you will be creating the chains. It's a step of execution. Nowadays inside LangChain expression language, they introduce something called runnable. Okay, runnable. Okay, runnable. They call it as runnable. Previously we used to call chains. Now you'll be calling as a runnable. Okay. Then I'll be also discussing something called memory. Memory. That means if you want to add any memory, that means if I go to the chat GPT, if I'm asking something, it can remember my conversation. Okay, so these kinds of, let's say, memory, how to add, I will be also teaching you this thing. Then we'll be also discussing about the ecosystem. Okay, ecosystem. That means here we'll be exploring Lang, Smith, Lang, Serve, and Lang graph. Line graph. So these kinds of ecosystem we'll also try to understand. Then once everything we have completed, okay, we'll be also doing some development. That means we'll be implementing some level 1 application. Level 1 application. Okay. Apart from that, in the advance, you will see that we are also having something called level 2 application. We are also having something called level 3 application. So this level 3 application is the professional. Okay, professional LLM application. Okay, LLM apps. That means here we'll be using something called full stack development. Okay, full stack development. In future, I will also show you how we can create these kinds of level 3 application. But as of now, just to understanding, just to practice our knowledge, we'll be creating level 1 application. In the level 1 application, here we are not going to create any user interface. Okay, most of the time we'll be creating with the help of Python code. Okay, and inside level 2, you can also add any kinds of POC UI. Okay, POC UI. That means proof of concept UI. You can use Streamlit. Okay, you can use Streamlit. You can use Flask. You can use Fast API. Okay, anything you can use here. So these are the actually application level. Okay, and as a generative AI developer, let's say if you want to create a professional application, that time you need to know how to create the level 3 application. Okay, with the full stack development. Okay, so yeah, I think you got the entire learning path. Okay, how we can learn this complete LangChain. And apart from that, you don't have anything inside LangChain. Okay, so guys, is it clear? Yeah, LangGraph I already written here. LangGraph also series of LangGraph. See, I will show you the LangGraph demo. Definitely in future, dedicatedly if you want LangGraph series, I can also come. But here my main intention is to show you the latest LangChain and LLMOps. Okay. Here I'm not focusing on the LangGraph specifically. Yeah. Okay, so far guys, everything is clear. The complete conceptual introduction, evolution, and learning roadmap. Tell me guys, is it clear? How was the session? Let me know. If you like it, so please send me any kinds of likes, any kinds of emojis. Can we integrate a conversational chatbot with ChromaDB for the vector store with SQLite for SQL server to store the conversation story? You can do so many, I mean anything. Okay, if you want to add like different technology, you can also do it. Okay, so yeah, this is all from today's session. So in the next session, I'll be discussing about how to talk with LLM. Okay, so we'll be learning how we can use OpenAI LLM. Even we'll be also learning open source API. Okay, so both will be doing fine. So please try to join the session regular basis, guys. Don't miss any session, otherwise I mean you won't be able to learn. So I'll request everyone 7 days. Okay, 7 days we'll try to I mean end this series. Okay, 7 days. And again, I'm telling you guys, the content would be updated in the playlist. So make sure you mark this playlist and subscribe to the channel and hit the bell icon, all of you. Okay, so that you will get all the notification. And please share it. Whenever you are sharing, other people will also get opportunity to learn. Okay, yeah. And please try to support the channel as well. So if you're supporting, it will give me more motivation to bring these kinds of content. All right, so I think guys, we are done, and you also got everything, whatever things we have explained. And thanks for joining the session, guys. I wish you will be learning, I mean in a good way, and your future would be bright. If you need any help from my side, definitely I'll happy to help you. With that guys, I will try to end the session. Thank you so much. Bye everyone. Take care. Bye. Thank you.